Welcome to Swish and Flick, an all Potter podcast.
Swish and flick. Everyone? Swish and flick.
Hello and welcome to episode 103 of Swish and Flick. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Florence.
She's back. And this episode is sponsored by Elizabeth Reel. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Today we will be discussing the first half of chapter 30 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the Pensieve. So make sure that you have read the chapter and you're ready to cruise into the details.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a good one.
You could have said, falling into, Harry felt like he was falling into the Pensieve, but
I took the next
I'm just saying
verb.
you could have been really creative with this chapter.
You take your glitter and leave.
Harry
Fine.
cruised into those memories.
We're cruising.
They
So-
see me cruising for a bruising. Trying to catch me watching memories. I need to leave.
She wore the recap hat and now she's insane.
Yeah, legitimately.
All right.
I'm
well,
sorry.
before we begin, Meg's Mouse Tales has weekly profit stuff.
So this is our last little PSA about Wizardly World of Kent, since it happens next weekend as of this air date.
Crazy.
So you can come and meet us at Wizardly World of Kent, which takes place in downtown Kent, Ohio. We are having a bunch of people come in, which is I'm so excited for. It starts at 10 a.m., goes to 8 p.m.
8 or 9. I think it's 8 though.
I think it's 8. So we're hosting trivia, and that's taking place at 11:45. And then we are doing a live podcast, which will take place at 4. And the podcast is actually an hour and a half, not an hour. That's the amount of time we have set aside for it.
What
I
if
think we could talk that long.
What if we
Oh,
can't
yeah.
talk that long?
We
That's a
will.
long
Well,
time
then
to talk.
Florence is up to bat, and it's all up to
Oh,
her.
Florence isn't coming. I don't
Um,
do appearances without getting a lot of money. I
So-
demand $2 million. Thank you.
Can you only have the green M&Ms?
No, I prefer the brown ones because chocolate's already brown. Name that movie.
I don't know.
The Wedding Planner.
So also we're going to have a booth that you can come and meet us at and hang out, and we're going to be selling merch, and we're going to have buttons to give away, and
Buttons.
it's just going to be a good time. So if anybody would like to come, and if you're interested in, if a lot of people are traveling, so if you need some place to stay, there's a lot of hotels in the StreetSte area, which is probably going to be your best bet right now, because I think everything in Kent is pretty much booked.
How far away is that from Kent?
10 minutes.
Yeah. Just
Oh.
kind of down the
And
street.
It
It's-
makes it sound like it's really far. So I'm glad
It
you
does,
said
but
that.
no, it's
Because
only
it's like
10
the whole next town over. No, it's 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Kent is pretty itty
And,
bitty.
and actually where
Yeah.
parking is going to be for the people who are staying in Streetsboro is going to be the high school in Kent, which is even closer than the
Yeah.
downtown area. And then it's a $5 shuttle per carload, not per person. So your
Oh, that's
entire
nice.
car can go on the shuttle for $5. And all of the money from the shuttle is going to help the band, I believe, to
like the school band, not
the
just
school
like
band.
some
Cool.
any old the band.
Yeah, no, it's the high school band.
the
high
Screaming
school.
Roots.
Yeah. And then the other weekly profit news that I wanted to remind everybody of is that we are doing an Orlando meetup on August 9th. It will be Katie, myself, and Tiffany. We're going to be in City Walk at Universal, which you do not need admission for to get into. It's free to get in there. There might be a parking charge. I think after a certain time, though, it might be free, but don't
By
quote
then
me
it
on.
should
I
be.
think it's free
Yeah.
after 5 o'clock.
You could also Uber and stuff like that too. If
Yes.
you do that.
Do they just do that to up the
They want
business
people to
stuff?
come. They want people to come to the
Restaurants
clubs. They have a club area,
You
clubs, dancing
stop
and stuff. I'm serious.
Are we
Okay.
going clubbing?
No, I'm not even gonna be there. I'm like, no.
So,
Oh, it's been a minute.
so we're gonna be at City Walk at 8 p.m. and we're gonna meet everybody in the grassy area, all the way in the back of City Walk, down by where the boat shuttles are for the hotels. It's like a grassy stair area for anybody who doesn't know.
Can't miss it.
Just keep walking
I've
straight once you
never
come
seen
into
it.
City Walk, and there's a little splash
what they're
pad
talking
with water, and then there's the grassy steps. So we'll be in the grassy step area. We will all be wearing Swish and Flick shirts, so you will find us. We also are selling meetup shirts, which the day that this airs, there will still be 2 days left to order them. So if you're interested, they're $25. Just message us, and then I'll send you an invoice, and then they will be there for you to pick up at the meetup, and that would be fun for all of us to match. We're going to go get Voodoo Donuts, and then just kind of let you guys guide what the meetup will be. I know that there's putt-putt there, or we can just hang out and talk. Like, we're open to whatever. We just want to meet and greet you guys. So
We should all go in the Universal store and put robes on and be really
Oh my
obnoxious in the
God.
back.
And take
my
a picture.
gosh.
Yeah.
That just
Yeah.
hearing that makes me
We
really
do have
anxious. So
to-
I'm very glad that I won't be there.
I don't know.
We
if I
gotta
should
get
do
you some.
Yeah, get me a
some
robe.
robes. We're gonna get some robes.
I
It
need a
has-
robe.
it has a raven on it.
Okay.
She said she was
I know for that.
all
it's
right with that.
I will say I eventually have to make it down there to ride that ride and be dressed up like Hagrid.
Yeah.
That would be
I can't
hilarious.
wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I love you as Hagrid.
But
we
like-
should go down there like next winter, 2020 winter,
Okay.
Yeah.
together.
It's a
And
long
ride it.
time.
It is a long time away, but
It'll be here before you know it.
Save your pennies.
we could see it at Christmas time,
It's so beautiful.
which is so
Yeah.
pretty.
They look at me like I've never seen it. I
No,
got to see it.
I know.
It's gorgeous.
Your Florence is showing.
Yeah. It's really cool. So is Disney at Disney time. I mean, it's always Disney
At
time.
Disney
at Disney
Christmas
time.
time. It's my favorite time of year to see them like all.
Yes.
I almost said dressed up, decked
Halloween.
out.
Halloween is really fun too. but-
This Halloween. I do
Throwback.
want to add a little bit to
Yeah.
your weekly profit,
Okay.
and I will only say this one thing. Are you ready? We are going to do a crossover episode with Potterless.
Yes.
And that's all I'm saying. So stay tuned. All right, Instagrammers, we love you. Goodbye.
I have a request for your thing. Can you not read it as Katie? Because it's really funny when you read it as like Harriet.
No.
Oh, also, I
been a
want
while.
to. I want to add to the Potterless.
It has.
I want to add to the Potterless
You can't.
crossover
We were saying one thing.
that he will be on an episode of ours and we will be on an episode of his.
Oh,
so you're getting
two.
2.
This is 4, but it's a 2.
Yes. So
Hashtag.
and we're super excited about it.
Yes.
So
it's going to be great.
yeah,
It's gonna be so great.
it's gonna be great. It's
gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Name that
No.
movie.
It's
Winnie the
Pooh. It's
Winnie
Tigger.
the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh.
Since we're talking Harry Potter, wouldn't it be like Paddington?
No.
Are you ready?
Pooh
Yeah,
Bear
I'm ready.
also comes from England.
You're right. I mean, Pooh's better, obviously. Fight me.
Okay.
Ready?
Alrighty then.
Ready?
Cap, 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 cap. Free! Thought about that today.
I did not know what you were doing. I was really lost.
Recap.
It was everything I wanted it to
Oh
be.
my god. My brain was like glitching. Like, what's
I know
going
your
on?
face. She was like, oh, what's happening? Literally, it was making docs today, and I was like, we'll see that. What was your hand up for, my
Yeah.
dear? Did you forget?
What do you need?
No, I'm gonna save it for the next episode.
Are you gonna remember?
I will. I'm gonna put it in the doc.
Okay.
That's all the way on Sunday.
I know.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Swish
All right.
Sunday.
The Capri. In case anyone's forgotten, you can't apparate in or out of Hogwarts.
Wait, hold on. What did you just say before that? Did you
But
just call it a
why?
Capri?
A Capri.
Cap of Re. That's literally why I did that, because I
I
thought
knew-
about.
I knew that's why you did that. I thought you said a Capri. I'm like, what's a Capri?
It's a new magical creature.
The Cap-O-Ri. Sorry.
I can't roll my R's and it makes me
I can't
sad.
either.
I've
Really?
tried for like my whole life. I can't
Can
do
you
it.
roll your R's?
I can do it in the back of my throat, but not my actual tongue.
On Fridays, we roll our R's. You can't sit with us.
That's my favorite.
8 hours
scuttle.
later, she finally gets to read her recap.
It's a Capri.
later.
Capri.
8 hours later.
Makes it sound fancier.
All right, let her
The
go.
Capri.
You go. You
Yeah,
go.
go, Katie,
you go,
go.
Glen Coco.
We want ice cream. Read it.
Best scuttle quote though is "Whoa, what a swim!" It's my favorite part. It makes me laugh so I want that to be every time I get a text. Oh, wow, what a sweat.
Oh, God. This is not an ice cream kind of night. This is a
It really
I know.
was.
8-hour episode kind of night.
Nope. I'm reining us in. Katie, read it.
All right, so you can't apparate in or out of Hogwarts. And I'm saying that because poor Hermione had to explain it for like the 18,000th time last chapter. Fred and George are still up to something suspicious. Sirius is in full dad mode and tells Harry to promise he won't go wandering. Harry falls asleep in divination. I don't blame him. And he has one of his seer dreams and wakes up screaming with his scar burning. And he heads straight to Dumbledore, as Sirius told him, to tell him what happened.
Oh, that sounds serious.
Bum, bum, bum. Seriously?
Oh, seriously, we're going to talk about this chapter.
Please read your Uranus.
What?
Summary backwards.
Oh.
You're Marie of some.
Your Capri would not have been. Your Capri would have been a packer.
A pacer.
A pacer.
Eurissimus.
All right. Well,
What
all
is
right. So
happening?
we're going to talk about Harry Potter because this is what we're talking about every time on this podcast. Because that's what this podcast is about. I don't know. Who knows anymore? Harry's invited into the office. He shuts Fudge down because we don't like him and tells Dumbledore they need to talk. Oh, sounds serious. What if they're going to break up? Harry waits while the others go look in the forest, and he decides to snoop, just like any good kid would do. I would snoop. Harry touches things he shouldn't and ends up in a very weird dream or like memory or something. I don't really know. He isn't sure, but we learn more things from this interaction. And that's a lot of stuff. Harry learns from Dumbledore what it is or what it was. And then they have a conversation that covers a lot of bases, just like, you cover bases in baseball.
I love when you fall out of Florence and you're like,
I was like, because the thing is, like, I was thinking, like, what did I write here? Because sometimes, like, I don't write how I don't know. Sometimes it's, like, hard for me to read life, you know?
Sure.
Florence doesn't like to be talked to like that, all right?
All right.
Tell him,
right.
Florence.
Okay, let's roll right into this because I just realized this is the one that I said I should have split into
I
two
don't think it was that
episodes.
long.
Well, then I
But I
gave
don't know.
myself way too much.
I mean, I had a good section.
Yeah.
We'll just start. We'll just start.
I mean, we'll just talk about it on the podcast.
yeah. We literally, before we begin this, so Tiffany and I were doing our notes together, and I'm like reading and doing, I'm like, then we're starting to have a conversation. I'm like, we can't do our notes together.
She literally yelled
because
at me.
we're like going back and forth about stuff I was realizing as I was writing them. I'm like, we can't have this conversation. We have to save it for the podcast.
Well, literally, I sent all of them
Literally.
a picture today.
Oh, today?
My
My brain was
I-
like, overdrive.
I know. And then we were like, oh man, we've got to wait even till after this weekend though, because that's not
Just
even
you
one this weekend.
wait. Henry Higgins, just you wait.
So the door to the office opens and there's Moody Judy. Harry had been in the headmaster's office before, but it was never like this. So Fudge is there, and he's standing there in his pinstripe suit and lime green bowler hat. And I wanted to go back to this, and I think we used this very early on when we referenced colors.
I think we did.
Lime green. What's it stand for?
Green.
Every villain is lime.
Evil.
Yeah.
Every villain is lime.
So there's what do you want?
I just want to know, why do you always carry the same boulder hat?
Boulder?
Like, why can't
Bowler?
boulder?
That's
a very nice
boulder.
That's a very bold hat. That's a bold choice, Mr. Fudge.
Maybe he just enjoys it because
But
he's,
like,
I
I don't
evil.
know. I accessorize, so like, I don't
I
have
feel
one pair of
you.
shoes that I wear with every single outfit.
Okay, it's his favorite. What
I have
what do
a
you
pair of
want?
favorite shoes, but I'm not gonna wear my
You-
like if they're green. I wouldn't wear it with every single outfit.
He just so happens to wear it every time you see him.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean he
well.
wears it every day.
He's Fudge. He wears it. He probably sleeps with it on his head.
Okay, Megan.
My
He combs
favorite
it at
shoes
night.
are my Birkenstocks, and I wear them every moment that I have a chance. But anyway, I was gonna say I really
Do you wear them in the middle of winter when there's 3 feet of snow?
I don't think.
yeah, I have actually.
Bob's shorts. Bob's shorts.
Wow,
Katie
she
will
just
vouch for
Bob
me.
She
shorts
wore
you.
them in the snow
Yeah, I know.
with no socks, no shoes, nothing.
Yes.
No.
With no shoes. Get out.
Well, yes, shoes.
Sarah's leaving. Goodbye.
Never coming back. It's only Florence.
But this was one thing that I would consider something that I would usually never get upset about in a book to movie comparison. That I did. They didn't give him
I mean, she
the lime
emphasizes
green
it.
bowler hat, and she emphasizes it so many times. It has meaning. I
He's
wish
got the
she would
suit.
have done it.
He's
Yes.
got the suit and a bowler hat,
Yeah,
but
it's not
lime
green.
green.
Even if it was a different shade, I would have been okay with it. But like, just it should have been green because
I agree.
to me, like if you think of Voldemort's outfit in the movies, it's a green black. If you actually, I don't know if you can tell so much in the films, but when Katie and I went to the studio tour, we got, oh my god, like it is the most Voldemort. He is ugly, right? But
Whoa.
his outfit was like one of the most beautiful costumes I've ever seen in person.
I guess I've
It's
never really
this,
thought
like-
about it.
It's silky.
It's silk.
Mm.
So anytime
snakes.
it,
It looks- I would
anytime
say
it
the way
moves,
he-
it's like he's underwater. you
Yeah.
know? But it's like this really
Dementor-esque.
deep green,
Ooh,
like
yeah.
dark green,
Almost
Slytherin
black.
color,
Yeah.
almost black. And I loved that
I'm
because
here
it's
for
like
that.
green villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish
Oh,
that,
wait. Is Voldemort a villain?
yeah,
That is a super spoiler alert, and I'm really upset you didn't even say it.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Voldy is moldy.
He's green.
He's moldy green.
All
Just
right.
like the Grouch.
So yeah, I wish that they would have given him a
Oh.
green hat. Basically is what I was saying.
Yeah.
I thought you were meant the Grinch, and I was like, this is not the same. But anyways, yes. So this Oh My Disney article went in, and it says basically all the Disney villains have some sort of lime green behind them. They're going into the evil queen from Snow White.
I was
She's
thinking
got
of,
some lime green in her potion.
The
Lime green eyes when she turns
Maleficent.
into the oldie.
The Lion King when they're singing
Yes.
with Scar.
Be
Green.
prepared.
Green.
Yes.
Yep, he was the first one.
Aren't his eyes
He
like
was
super
not the
green
first
too?
one.
In the article, he was the first one.
I was like, that's from the 90s.
Remember when I
you
was-
are incorrect.
Remember when I was supposed to be on Grown Up Kids podcast talking about the Lion King, and then they
Ooh.
decided to take a break?
I was on it.
Seems personal.
I was on it.
We were
for what I
on
remember.
a break.
Anyways, the stepmother
Yeah.
from Cinderella has green eyes. So does Lucifer the cat.
Lucifer's my favorite Disney villain.
Maleficent. It even surrounds her castle. When she goes to prick her finger, everything's green. Green fire from the dragon. Ursula's got green stuff. Scar. There's some bad stuff in Hercules that's green. Dr.
Really?
Facilier.
Oh, Facilier.
He's got some green stuff. Yes.
What is green
click
in
on
Hercules?
Well, why don't you click on the link? You got the technology.
Interested because I just think of Hades and I see blue.
Well, then you look at it. Whoa, did my hair go out? My eyebrow was twitching.
They're not as like lime green as most, but those are green ghosties with no toasties. So-
Rude.
Green
I
eggs and
know.
ham.
Oh,
toasties.
yeah. But I don't think they looked like that in the movie, to be honest with you.
Well, maybe they colored it a little bit with a crayon.
Be prepared. The
Yes.
underworld is green.
So, just wanted to bring that back because I want you all to take note of Fudge at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. We'll discuss him later on in this chapter.
Yes.
I missed a lot.
It is a lot. Thank you for playing
Green.
catch up. Yes.
I just wanted to impress upon the fact here that this is why we ring the bell.
Yeah.
It is not just something stupid. Some people get annoyed by it. Like, it has a meaning. Every time, like, colors mean things.
Yeah,
And-
and numbers.
Yes. They always mean something. There's so many 7s in the book. There's so many 13s.
12,
There's green,
3.
gold, red. They all
Purple.
And I
have
think what's
purple.
cool, too,
They all have meaning.
is
Yes.
in real life, like numbers have meanings. Like it's not, she's not just pulling. Some of the stuff is just meaningful towards the book, but like the number 3 has a lot of meanings in like
It's a strong-
history
Yeah.
and
Biblical.
religions. Yes, yeah, like religious stuff. So
Yep.
it's really cool.
Notice
And colors
it.
mean things,
We're
like-
not here to annoy you.
Yeah,
Like
we just
purple
wanna
is
call
a
it
very
out.
regal color. Like those are
Yes.
things like in history. these things mean things. So it's fun to point it out where she's pulling stuff from historical basis and religious basis and adding it to her stuff.
So basically, we're royalty.
Yeah, I'm related to a pirate queen, so hey.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
He has a castle in Ireland. Holla.
You are like, I don't know. You're giving me some kind of joy today.
There's
That's
lots
'cause I
of
had-
green in Ireland. Are you sure you're not a Slytherin?
I've
Or
taken
evil.
the test. Florence is.
Or evil?
Who knows? I might be evil. But I've had 3 coffees and 1 beer today.
Ooh, babe.
And water, obviously, because I'm not trying to, like, die, you know?
That's good.
Yeah.
Tiffany's only gotten through 2 bullet points.
I know.
We ain't getting ice cream, y'all.
Yes, we are.
All right. So, like I said before, take note of Fudge. He's jovially meeting Harry right now. And so Fudge informs him that they were just talking about the night that Mr. Crouch turned up on the grounds. And he's like, Harry's trying to hide the fact that he, like, wasn't listening at the door. But he's like, no, I got to go into this. And he's like, I didn't see Madame Maxime hiding on the grounds near Crouch or anywhere. And so this makes Dumbledore smile because his boy Harry is standing up for others and protecting them.
Yeah.
Because he can hear every horrific thing that's said through the door. So he also points out, Harry that is, that, like, it would be really tough for Madame Maxime to, like, try and, like, get away and hide. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so this makes Fudge embarrassed because he really didn't take in the account of the size of Madame Maxime and how she would have that difficult time trying to
He's
hide.
prejudiced. But I really
Yep.
like how she describes
He would be.
Dumbledore, like, he had, like, the twinkle in his eye. Like, the way that she described how he was, like, really happy that Harry said something.
Yeah.
I like that description.
That's
a good moment.
That's his boy. Yep. So
Eh.
Harry presses that he needs to speak with Dumbledore. And so Dumbledore's, like, searching Harry's face, and he realizes that it is something that is of the utmost importance. So he tells Harry to wait there until after they examine the grounds, and, you know, he'll be back to chat it out.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No,
But
you're
do you
not.
think he's just searching his face, or is he actually searching his mind?
I don't know. It could be
no one
either.
ever thought of that? Okay.
No, I mean I did, but I don't think that he needed to. I think that when you have certain people, like, I can give Marty a look and he can give me a look, and we just know.
Yeah, but you're all, like, in love and stuff.
So
I just think, like, or
Dumbledore loved Harry.
I also think
Cursed child. Don't forget it, babe.
I'm the cursed child, so why would I
Well,
forget
we know
that?
that. Sip your water. What do you want? What do you want? What do y'all want? This is why we're not getting ice cream.
Okay, Mom. We'll be good.
What?
I was just going to say, do you guys really think that Dumbledore is a Legilimens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you not think that?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he's smart enough to do it. Why wouldn't he be able to do it?
Well,
But is it
sometimes
about
I feel
being
like you're
smart?
born.
I just think
Born
he's
this way.
gifted. You know what I mean? Like,
I always just kind of envisioned Dumbledore as being somebody who is really good at reading
Reading
people,
people.
but
Well,
not
that too.
necessarily a
Yeah.
Legilimens. Because, like, I feel like that is something that really made Snape so important to him.
Well, I think that's why he realizes that he can trust Snape, because he
Right.
knows. Or
Yeah.
that could be the reading thing. It's
don't
either
know.
or. Sometimes I wonder if those things, like, go hand in hand. Like, if you're really good at reading people, do you have a touch of it? Like, how? Like, is it
Maybe.
like a spectrum? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking
Snape's like
too.
all the way over here. You know what I mean?
Maybe he's just really good at doing both, but he doesn't always choose to be the Legilimens and use that because of the whole power thing, and that maybe that taps into his, like,
Maybe he stopped.
yeah.
Maybe he stopped himself.
And he's just really good at, like,
He toned it down.
I like
reading
that.
the peeps.
Well, he is trying to control himself until, you know, the ring happens.
And then his
hand got thick.
Oh, that's one
as
sick
some people
hand.
would say.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Oh.
I love you.
Oh, I'm funny, guys.
I know.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. So Harry is now alone in the office, and he says hello to Little Fox, and he's looking around. And she goes to describe the office a little bit, and I just want to read it to you. Fox, Professor Dumbledore's phoenix, was standing on his golden perch beside the door, the size of a swan with a magnificent scarlet and gold. Ooh,
You run too slow.
plumage. He swished
And flicked.
his long tail and blinked benignly at Harry. Harry sat down in a chair in front of Dumbledore's desk. For several minutes, he sat and watched the old headmasters and headmistresses snoozing in their frames, thinking about what he had just heard and running his fingers over his scar. It had stopped hurting now. And I said that I loved the next line. He felt much calmer somehow now that he was in Dumbledore's office, knowing he would shortly be telling him about the dream. Said I love the comfort that Harry feels knowing he can confide in Dumbledore, but it also makes my heart hurt to know that the following year he can't confide in him. And I said boo.
Yeah.
Because although he is my favorite character and I love him dearly, he's humanly written and has very big faults.
Nobody's perfect.
As do we all have faults. Mine is that I'm just too awesome.
Oh.
Oh my god. Tiffany.
Oh my gosh, I'm joking. But seriously, let's move on here.
I thought you were going to be like, but seriously, I'm awesome.
Oh my gosh. So Harry goes on to admire the rest of the office. The sorting hat is on the shelf. The sword of Gryffindor is in the glass case. And I said, is this her letting us know that this is where the sword is for 7? I don't believe it's moved.
But here's my question. Oh, never mind. Oh, no. She thinks, Bellatrix thinks, I almost said the snake. The sword is in her vault. I wanted to call it an office.
That's after Snape does his little switcheroo.
Yeah.
But does he switch it from the vault or does...
No, I think that he
what I meant
switches
is,
it from the
do you
case.
think that the... Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay, so he switches it, gets the fake in there. I was wondering if she'd always had a... Okay.
No,
Okay,
no.
That's fine. I gotcha. You
pick it
answered
up?
my question.
You picking up what I'm putting down there?
Yeah. All right, babe.
So Joe recaps the previous books with Harry's experiences with the hat and the sword.
What does she do?
Oh, I'm sorry. She kept Capri's.
Capri's!
Capri-Sun! I like strawberry kiwi.
I like how you're saying that, and I think of a caprese salad.
Oh, I thought of Capri's like the
Yours
pants.
is better than mine. Mine's just
Yeah.
gross juice.
I think of the fruit punch Capri Suns.
Ugh, fruit punch is the worst.
Of anything.
Fruit punch and corn dogs. Ugh.
Okay,
That'd be the worst meal.
You need to
Honest to
slow
God.
your roll. I don't know why you're
Gross.
doing this.
Are you
right
with
now.
me? Yes, 1,000%.
Thank you.
Whatever.
I think that
I'll
sounds
I'll
delicious.
drink a fruit punch if you get me a corn dog. Nasty. So Harry is lost in thought about these items when he notices a silvery light, and he starts to look around for the source of the light, and he sees a black cabinet with a door that's not closed correctly on purpose. We don't know. And a silver white light that is shining from it. And of course, like a good kitty cat, curiosity gets the best of him.
Curiosity killed the Potter.
Oh.
Not really.
It killed the Dumbledore.
She's like, it did, though. Well, almost.
Yeah.
It would have.
He was curious. Oh, I guess what you're saying. Poisoned him. Killed his hand. His hand got sick. Made his hand sick. Oh, man.
And this is why we're not getting ice cream.
Tiffany, we are getting ice cream.
They have a closing time, and
Yeah.
we're
We're
closing time.
We're gonna make it.
Okay.
No,
We're not going to make it.
We're not gonna make it to Honey Hut.
Goodness
Oh,
gracious.
I'm
All right, well,
telling
let's
you.
go. Let's go.
Great
Let's go.
balls of ice cream.
All right, so he's a cat, right?
Scoops. Yes, he's a cat.
Getting curious. Curious. And so in this cabinet, there is a shallow stone basin. And then she describes it. Stop laughing. It's hard. It's hard when you're across from me.
This legit always makes me think of like where holy water is in a church.
Oh, you are so
You're
right.
You are so right.
But I wonder if that's one of her things.
Maybe.
Oh, it could be.
Dear Joe.
Dear Joe.
Dear Joe.
It's always reminded me of.
I've
you
never
let
even
us
thought of that.
down?
I've never thought of that.
Sad story.
You're welcome. I'll make all the comparisons all day.
Katie,
What?
she's beside you.
Sarah.
Handle her. You
can't
I'm
rein in
I'm
Sarah.
also beside myself. Good. I'm beside myself.
I thought you meant Florence.
Oh, that's sure.
I should have known when she put on that recap hat. Anyways, so let's describe the basin here, shall we?
Yeah, we
So,
shall.
With odd carvings around the edge, runes and symbols that Harry did not recognize, the silvery light was coming from the basin's contents, which were like nothing Harry had ever seen before. He could not tell whether the substance was liquid or gas. It was bright, whitish silver, and it was moving ceaselessly. The surface of it had become ruffled like the water beneath wind, and then, like clouds, separated and swirled smoothly. It looked like light. I'm sorry. It looked like light made liquid. That was weird to say. Or like wind made solid.
I love that.
Oh, I get what she's saying. Harry could not make up his mind. So,
love that.
of course, like a Harry Potter, he felt the need to touch it. But in all his 4 years at Hogwarts, this led him to believe that probably wasn't a great idea. Instead, he pulls out his wand and he pokes it.
I mean, but who would touch it? Raise your hand.
And I said, this makes me think of being a kid and you see something gross and you poke it with a stick.
Yes.
Right?
I don't
yes.
think I ever poked it with a stick. I think I just touched things as a kid.
Oh, well, you're gross. I didn't like
Facts.
to touch stuff. Gross. You're gross.
I definitely used a stick.
Yeah.
But would you have touched it with your hands?
No.
Oh. I totally would have put my hand in it.
The silvery
Thank you.
stuff began to swirl very fast, and Harry leans in to look closer. It became transparent like glass. So instead of the bottom of the basin, he saw an enormous room below the surface. The room was dimly lit, possibly underground. And I said this was probably the room at the ministry where Harry had his trial, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Harry continued to lower his nose even closer to get a better look. There were rows and rows of witches and wizards sitting on rising benches. And there was an empty chair in the middle of the room, and the chair gave him an ominous feeling. There were chains encircling the arms of the chair. Like, can you just feel this? Like, even with knowing 5 and whatever, take a step out of it and just think, like, all I feel like is, like, you have all these people just judging you.
Oh, it's
yeah.
very menacing.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oof. It gives me that same feeling. So
I
Harry's
know like it.
huh?
I know like it.
You know, like it. Okay. I'm sorry. We move on. So Harry's racking his brain trying to think of where the room could be because he didn't think it was at Hogwarts. It didn't look like any room he'd ever seen. And I was like, but like there are tons of rooms you probably haven't seen at Hogwarts, Harry.
Right.
Also, you'll see it soon, so don't worry about it.
Correct.
Ouch.
I always forget like 5 snaps.
I know.
Ugh. And also, the crowd in the basin was made up of mostly adults. The atmosphere was subdued. People were facing forward, and no one was talking.
So does that mean there were like children there then, or like young adult, like I'm thinking adults is like the 17 and older. So are the people that are younger than 17 there, but it's only mostly adults?
I would think so. It's probably.
think
It's traumatic for kids.
I don't think there would be kids there unless maybe
I
your
was
family
gonna-
of the person in the middle.
But I'm
That's
thinking
what I
like
was gonna say.
like 50, like school age, like 11 through 17 would be my.
Maybe it's just interns, guys.
I don't think there are any people in that room that are under 17. Is my guess.
Well, then they all be adults.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said mostly.
Well, that's what Joe said.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm saying.
What are we arguing about?
I'm saying like I wonder if she in her mind had younger like.
I don't think she did.
Like say
in my
like
mind.
Barty had a younger sibling. Like would they be there to watch the trial?
Well, why don't
kind
you
of
ask
thing?
her?
I think
She's
so.
not taking
This
my calls.
so the first person is Cockroff, right? Mm-hmm. So I bet you people come to that trial who their families have been affected by the Death Eaters or something like that. So like
Maybe it's their
it
last
could-
chance to see them before they're
right? And like
Azkaban.
also it could be like a mother and her son, and her husband was killed by a Death Eater, so they
Yeah.
want to come and watch this happen.
like any other trial.
Yeah,
I get
right.
you.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking there could be
maybe
some
kids. All right, change my mind. Thanks, friends.
anytime.
So Harry continues to lean in. The tip of his nose touched the surface, and whoopsie!
And
just
he's
then,
gone.
Dumbledore's office gave a huge lurch, and he's thrown in the basin.
I'd freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Freak
going
out.
on?
Like-
Touch nothing. 'cause you
honestly-
don't know what it is.
Well, let's think about like what if Dumbledore wouldn't have like shown up? Like how do you get out?
How long would he have been in there?
How do you get out?
Maybe you
Harry
just lean
goes all
back.
the way back to
Lean
like
back.
the Grindelwald
I'm just like,
days.
how do you get out?
I don't. That's why I'm asking.
I'm saying I wonder, like,
I don't
'cause
know.
really, it's just you. Your whole body's not actually in the
It's
basement.
gotta. It's gotta be like
you
a.
just feel like you are.
So maybe if you do that, because it's
I
just
don't
your
know.
face, right?
But it just feels like your whole body's in there.
Yeah, I think so.
So I would.
So
think,
another Dear Joe. How many are we gonna do?
I'm thinking maybe
A lot.
a lot.
if you do lean back.
Kind
Oh.
of like
Look at the Discord chat. Once the memory is over, you come out. What do you want to? What
That's
if?
a good thought.
But what if you want to remove yourself from it? Is what I'm asking.
But he
that is a
Because I
really
don't-
good thought.
Because Dumbledore does remove them.
Correct. It isn't over. You're right.
he goes through a couple memories in this.
No, yeah, I know. But I'm saying, like maybe you come out once all of the memories that are in there. Because not every
Yeah.
single memory is in there. Because he has
Oh,
that
right.
cabinet
yeah.
with like
vials,
vials.
yeah.
So it's just a
Maybe you
matter
can
of how
only-
many.
Maybe you can only hold so many.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe if there was only one in there, you might come out. But like because there were multiple ones in this, there has to be a way that you can decide to leave.
I'm saying
Maybe
lean
it's
back.
mentally. Maybe it's just
Oh.
mentally you have to be like, okay, I'm done now, and then you come out.
I think it's a
Can
bewitched
you do it with
nose
life?
twitch.
Mentally check out. That's how you get out of the Pensieve.
I wish.
I'm
Check 'em
picturing
out.
like a YouTube playlist where it just keeps going and going and going.
All right. So Joe goes on to say, but his head did not hit the stone bottom. He was falling through something icy cold and black. It was like being sucked into a dark whirlpool. And suddenly Harry found himself sitting on a bench at the end of the room inside the basin. A bench raised high above the others. He looked at the top of the high stone ceiling, expecting to see the circular window through which he had just been staring. But there was nothing there but dark, solid stone. So that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So he's freaking out, but no one around him seemed to notice. He turned around and let out a yell because he was sitting next to Albus Dumbledore.
Say what?
Is this Dumbledore, you think, or do you think he's
It's
still...
not. He's still older looking. I think I quoted in here. So he goes into apologizing to Dumbledore, but too soon, Harry, too soon, because you can apologize later because he can't hear you right now. So Harry goes through what could be happening in his brain. So he's like, once before, he'd found himself somewhere that no one could hear him or see him. That time he had fallen through a page in an enchanted diary, right? Throwback to 2. And that was into somebody else's memory. Still, just a different kind of memory, and also a Horcrux. But unless he was very much mistaken, something like this happened again. So he does realize that he's in something like a memory, like he was before. So he raises his right hand, and he hesitates, and then he waves it energetically in front of Dumbledore's face, but Dumbledore doesn't blink.
I need a drawing of that.
He doesn't look around at Harry, and he doesn't move at all, really. And that, in Harry's opinion, settled his, like, inner dialogue, like, what's happening here?
That's smart for him, though. Not for him, but, like, that's a smart thing
No,
to
that's
do.
a,
you know
no,
what
I
mean?
agree. That's a smart thing. So he realizes, okay, I'm inside a memory, but this was not present-day Dumbledore. So he realizes that, too. So that helps him along. So, Sarah, it does go on to say that he was sitting next to a silver-haired Dumbledore, just like the present day, but just wasn't as old. And then there's footsteps, and 3 people enter the room. 1 man and 2 Dementors.
I find it interesting that she calls the Dementors people.
Did
Yeah.
she? Or did I?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you did.
I don't remember. You
No,
can
I
look it up.
think she did.
They ain't
Because I don't.
people.
I don't think they're people. Aren't they? Are they considered creatures?
I would think so.
Yeah, they're in Fantastic Beasts, the book.
What X level thing are they?
I don't know. I can go look it up though.
It's right behind you.
It's not in that book.
Dementors
What?
are not. in
Are you
there?
serious?
so.
So they're
Oh,
not
maybe I
creatures?
lied.
I'm 90% sure. Go look. I don't know. What do I know?
We don't know. What do you know?
Not a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, she said 3 people entered. At least 1 man, flanked by 2 Dementors.
Interesting.
Well, it says or. This is what it says. It says 3 people entered. There's a dash, or at least 1 man flanked by 2 Dementors.
Oh, there you go.
okay,
so
okay.
she, you know.
It's not in here.
Wow. Interesting.
ya.
What are they considered?
Maybe they're just beings.
I think they like.
What else has that? Just them? They're in a
A
class of their
ghost?
own.
Like a ghost, because I don't think ghosts are in.
Okay.
So
A
maybe they're
ghost?
like the same level as a ghost.
A ghost?
A ghosty with some toasties. having little bolsties.
Possible. Okay. Thoughts to think, friends. So the whole crowd, including Harry, recoil at the Dementors. Don't blame you. And after the Dementors leave, Harry realizes that the man they brought in was Karkaroff. He looks much...
Scumbag.
Pretty much. Well, according to Moody. So he looks much younger. His hair and goatee were both still black, and he was dressed in ragged robes. He was shaking. Don't blame you. The chains on the chairs suddenly glowed gold, and they snaked their way up his arms and bound him there. Then another familiar face came into view. This was Mr. Crouch. He looked fit and alert, and so we begin. You have been brought from Azkaban to present evidence to the Ministry of Magic. You have given us to understand that you have important information for us.
I don't know what that means. What do you mean?
It just sounded weird what I read. You have given us to understand that you have important information.
He's basically saying, like, I have information, and I want, in exchange for this information, I want to be freed. That's kind of what he's saying.
Given us to understand. Oh, okay. It just sounds weird when I read it. Anyways, Karkaroff goes on to say, I wish to be of use to the Ministry. I wish to help. I know that the Ministry is trying to round up the last of the Dark Lord's supporters. I am eager to assist in any way I can.
Are you?
So, some of the people in the room were interested, and some of them definitely still didn't trust him. And then a younger Moody muttered, filth. And this was a Moody before the magical eye. Moody goes into why he is so filled with annoyance and anger. He says Crouch is going to let him out. Moody breathed quietly to Dumbledore. He's done a deal with him. Took me 6 months to track him down, and Crouch is going to let him go if he's got enough new names. Let's hear his information. I say throw him straight to the Dementors.
Did Moody have the eye in the movie? I'm pretty sure he did.
I think he did.
I don't remember.
So, like, what happened in those, like, 12 years that, no, you don't have an eye? Or
he
13
lost
years.
An eye.
Do you think at this point there were still... Well, obviously, there were still Dark Lord supporters out there to catch, so there was something that happened there. Because I'm sure he wasn't done catching people at this point.
I wonder what spell it was to just take the eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not that, like, it took his eye, but, like, he just got so injured that Mungos had to remove it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you've seen Captain Marvel, that's how
that
one guy loses his eye.
Yeah.
Not that's how, but he loses his eye.
So Dumbledore was in no mood for this, and he made a small noise in his throat. Moody goes on to say, I was forgetting. You don't like the Dementors, do you, Albus? Said Moody with a sardonic smile.
What does that mean?
Somebody look that up. That's a good word. Probably like a smug kind of thing, I was thinking. No, said Dumbledore calmly.
Grimmingly, mocking, or cynical.
Yeah. I'm afraid I don't. I have long felt the Ministry is wrong to ally itself with such creatures. But for filth like this, Moody said softly. So back to Karkaroff. He's trying to make it seem, for good reason, that him revealing these names is a huge deal. Going into the fact that Voldy works in great secrecy, meaning that even the Death Eaters don't know who all are Death Eaters. Which is something that I guess I didn't really pick up on, or forgot. I don't know, but like that is that's huge. Yeah. So I feel like the only people who know who are Death Eaters are maybe the ones in his inner circle.
I don't even know if they all do, because I think that
because he says their names when he's in the.
I think that's a movieism. That's what I was just gonna say. I think him saying the names, isn't it a movieism or no?
I don't know.
I didn't get that far in my notes today, but literally that's the chapter that I was on.
I'm not sure if maybe he does. No, I think he does.
He mentions family
because
names.
He says McNair for sure, because he talks about him working at the Ministry.
McNair.
McNair.
No, he goes
McNair.
No, yeah, I guess he does. But yeah, I guess maybe it is just the inner circle that knows who each other is.
But that's some intense secrecy. Like your masks and stuff. Like, so are you trying to like do like, I don't know, that just makes me think like you would pin your people against your people.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that sets you up for success in that kind of an area.
I would think too
Because
that
he's
like
got an agenda.
Yeah, it's at no cost.
Yeah.
they
you know?
probably only have loyalty to Voldemort anyways. Like they don't have loyalty to other Death Eaters.
Right.
So like they'd even be willing to like kill to get to the top.
Correct.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like,
so
look-
you can be in his little inner circle
Think
there.
about like Bellatrix, you know.
Oh, she would do anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, she cheated on her husband. Yeah, he says Avery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But he doesn't say some names.
Correct.
So like
Malfoy's
he
there,
knows,
but he doesn't say his name.
right.
Does he take
and
his
he
mask off, or is
also-
that the movieism too?
That's I believe a movie.
Movieism.
Does he take it off during the movie, the fourth one?
Yeah.
I don't
He
recall.
goes like
He
this.
goes like that, and then Malfoy
Oh,
like
and
and he
falls
falls
to
to
the
his
ground.
knees. Yeah.
But like he doesn't mention Crabbe, Goyle, Malfoy, Snape.
I don't think he would mention Snape.
Right.
He's too
And
close.
And he doesn't. Well, because he mentions Snape without mentioning his name. He says something like, "I need to
Like loyal
check
or
his
whatever.
loyalty" or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
No, when he's talking about his most loyal supporter, he's talking about Crouch, not Snape.
Yeah, he does because
Why
the way
did I
he
think
say
he was
it.
also talking about the Lestranges too, though, because they're still in
He,
Azkaban.
when he mentions Azkaban, and he's talking about the Lestranges.
I should have read this chapter.
He does. It does say
the other chapter all the way. That's the one I was doing today.
it does mention Malfoy, but not like he doesn't say Malfoy's name. It just says because he's talking. It says came Lucius Malfoy's voice.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if Harry realizes that.
I think
He does say McNair.
I think he
He
notices
says Crabbe. He
because
says Goyle.
because it wouldn't say
Nah.
Lucius Malfoy's voice if Harry didn't recognize it because we are in
Right.
Harry's head.
So,
yeah,
okay.
but like,
Good
he
point.
doesn't because he doesn't.
So Voldemort doesn't say his name, but Harry knows
Harry-
it's Malfoy.
yeah.
Okay.
But he does say McNair, Crabbe, Goyle, not. Sorry. not.
Anyways, that's a pretty big deal. So Karkaroff coming through with these names, like I wonder how he found out about all these people, especially someone who he accuses
Well, but
here
like,
coming up.
didn't Malfoy say that he was Imperious or whatever? Isn't that
yeah,
how he got?
Malfoy
That's how he
said
got
that-
out of it.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So
Cockcroft.
Yes. Quote. And these were important supporters, mark you, people I saw with my own eyes doing his bidding. I give this information as a sign that I fully and totally renounce him, and I am filled with a remorse so deep I can barely... And then Crouch is like pretty much over him. He's like, yeah. Get to the names. We don't have time for you. And so I said, here we go. Let's rat out some ratties. There's, how do you say this? Antonin
Dolohov.
Dolohov. Worst
we just say
ever.
That snitches get stitches.
Well, here we go. I saw him torture countless muggles and non-supporters of the Dark Lord and helped him do it.
That would
Murmured
be
Moody.
me. I would be Moody being like, okay.
So Crouch is like, yeah, we already apprehended Dolohov and he was caught shortly after yourself. And Karkaroff's like, indeed. His eyes are widening. I am delighted to hear it. He's just, ugh. Like,
a suck
that's
up.
so great. No,
He's-
bro.
Wait,
no.
and he's the one, Dolohov was the one that attacks Hermione, correct? In the,
Yes, and he kills Remus.
Yep, he does.
I was
Anyway,
like-
well,
I'm like, something must have happened because you're like, yes.
so he has a profile on Pottermore.
Oh, does he? Does it say
Pottermore?
that he killed Remus?
Sure.
I don't know. Let's go into it. So
Probably
it says a
doesn't like
Death
him either.
Eater who was sentenced to Azkaban. Well, it only says for the murder of the Pruitt brothers.
Interesting. And if you don't know who those are, that's Molly Weasley's brothers.
Oh.
It does say underneath skills.
No, so it does say
That's
dueling,
awful.
fought and killed Molly Weasley's brothers and Remus Lupin.
That's his
work.
skill.
That's his skill.
That's awful.
Did Bellatrix kill Tonks?
Yeah, I think so.
I think she did.
That's so
Cousins.
messed up.
Yeah.
Like,
killed
talk
both
about
their
family
cousins.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, we're going to, like, legit.
But does she? I want to know for
Start
sure.
making-
I don't
Yeah, I'm like 95% positive she does.
Okay. So in 5, they actually tell us that Dolohov is convicted of the brutal murders of Gideon and Fabian Pruitt.
I like the name Gideon.
Brutal.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Here's
That
my
makes
thing.
me wonder how Remus was killed. Was it really just a duel, or was there like did more happen?
But like,
I
but like,
might
here's my
start crying.
but here's my question. When it says the brutal murder, okay, when you Avada, right? It's
That's
instant.
brutal.
It's fast. It is brutal. But I feel like there are other ways
Yeah.
that people could be killed that could be considered brutal. So it makes me wonder, are you just, not just avotted, but you know what I mean? Like, are you tortured? Is there a different spell? Did you bleed out?
Sectum Semprad.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, and I think too
We're
with,
getting kind of dark here, but
with the Death Eaters, and I mean, and people in general that are these like that are just gonna kill to kill,
right.
especially ones that like it. Sorry to get super dark, but like they are willing to do things that are going to make them hurt. So like I would assume
Yeah.
Death Eaters are gonna create spells like Sectum Sempra that are going to torture you for, you know, a hot minute before you actually die. Like this one fan fiction I was reading, and I forget who created the spell, but it was basically like made your blood boil.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it just makes me.
it's a good thing to pick up on.
It just makes me wonder.
Yeah.
It's all about the verbiage, man.
Mm-hmm.
And even in this profile, it says that's Dolohov, said Ron. I recognize him from the old wanted posters. Like,
He was after them in the coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
and the big one was Thornfinn Rao.
Yeah.
Bellatrix did indeed kill Tonks.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought so.
She's a bad aunt
Legit.
and sister and everything.
But Dolohov gets a little bit of wrath from Voldemort. I believe in 7, Narcissa Malfoy says, if we are mistaken, if we call the Dark Lord here for nothing, remember what he did to Raoul and Dolohov.
Ooh.
So, and you know, at Malfoy Manor, he was just killing left and right. He didn't care who he was getting.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was so mad.
That was.
You guys, should we put little blips on these episodes now? Could get a
We can
little.
just-
I mean,
In the description, we
Start.
we should call it out. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna get dark.
the next few chapters are brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could take. I mean, it's
I know we
got,
have
this,
some
this
really
whole
young
chapter.
listeners, though,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
That's what I'm saying. This whole book is darker than the rest, and it started off dark and it's ending even darker. I think too because, you know, we have spent now 2 books with Cedric. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I was not happy doing notes today. Like, literally, usually I have some fun with putting the docs together and what I write, like, as far as what everybody's going to, like, cover. But I'm like, none of this is funny, so I just went through. I think I said, like, rest in peace, Cedric Diggory or something like that. Like, it just sucks. The way he died was just, like, snuffed.
Yep.
He was snuffed out. And he looked slightly surprised.
Can we not? Can we wait? Because I will literally
I'm
start
sorry.
crying.
But does that just say something about him as a puff? Like, he wasn't shocked, he wasn't afraid or anything. He was just slightly surprised. I think that says a lot about him as a person.
Let's talk about Rosier. Is that how you say that?
Rosier.
And then is that
Rosier.
the same, the girl from
Yep.
Fantastic
they
Beasts,
fam-
Crimes of Grindelwald?
Fam Damley.
But do we know that for a fact?
Probably.
guess-
I mean,
I
think
guess
that's
not,
Because it's the
because-
same last name, surname.
Well, they do mention that like the Rosier line is ending, don't they? It's like
yeah, but so is the Lestrange line, and we know that that doesn't end.
truth. I personally think that they are descendants.
I would agree.
That's my guess.
I agree.
Makes sense because they're all in Voldemort's back pocket here.
yeah,
And they
that's
were
true.
all in Grindelwald's back pocket,
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true.
Okay.
And they're purebloods. We know that, right?
yeah.
So, do we know that she's a pureblood? I know we know the Lestranges are from Crimes of Grindelwald.
Rosier, I think
would assume.
Are
I
they
think
part of the
that's one
Sacred 28?
I feel like they are.
I mean, we
I'll
have
look
the
it up.
unit.
You guys
Yeah.
keep talking.
Okay, yeah, because at this rate, there ain't no ice cream. All right, so Crouch goes on to ask him, are there any more names? Why, yes, there was Rosier. Is that what you're saying?
Rosier.
Okay, I'm not saying it like that.
I'll say it for you.
So
Rosier.
said Karkaroff hurriedly. Evan Rosier. Rosier is dead, said Crouch. He was caught shortly after you were too. He preferred to fight rather than to come quietly and was killed in the struggle. Took a bit of me with him, though, whispered Movie to Harry's right. Harry looked around at him once more and saw him indicating to a large chunk out of his nose to Dumbledore.
Rosier is 28 or sacred.
It's on there.
Yeah.
It is? I win.
Yes.
Okay, but I added in a fun fact. You ready? I'm going to Sarah this. So, according to oculist literature.
Occultist.
Is it
Cultist.
occultist?
Mhm.
All right, well, you know. Rosia is the name of a fallen angel that became a demon.
Oh, interesting. So is the devil. Lucifer is a fallen angel, if you didn't know that.
I did know that.
I mean,
Thank
I know you would know that.
Would I?
Yeah.
Oh, I do. So, anyways, it also says, from the looks of things, there's a couple of fallen angels in this family too, so referring to maybe some people from Fantastic Beasts. So I wonder when that little descent happened.
Yeah.
I think the whole family's fallen angels.
Could be. But when were they angelic?
Were they ever? Who knows?
Well, I don't know. So, from the Pottermore article, a guide to the new characters in Fantastic Beasts. In the Harry Potter books, one of the key Rosiers we hear about is Evan, one of Lord Voldemort's early followers from the First Wizarding War, who was killed the year Voldemort fell. There's also a significant Rosier from the Black family tree, Druella Rosier. Why so significant?
Druella.
She's like a spider waiting for the kill.
Druella, Rosier.
Well, she is the mother of Bellatrix Lestrange. Along
a lot
with
of
her
evilness.
Along with her sisters Narcissa
A lot of lines.
and Andromeda Tonks.
She got all the good out of everybody.
So pure blood families do tend to interlink a lot. Well, there's not much choice if you exclude anyone that's remotely connected to a muggle. So that's not a surprise. Where Vinda Rosier comes into play, we will have to wait and see. Perhaps she influences the evil ways of the future Rosiers.
Vinda.
So,
Vinda.
yes, it says Karkaroff that he has more names. There's Travers. He helped murder the McKinnons.
We also know Travers from Fantastic Beasts.
Yep. He is in the Ministry of Magic, head of the Aura department right now.
Naughty, naughty, you'll get caughty. And he
But
did.
we don't know that we know that they know we know. We know. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're
But
saying.
we
don't know
know
what's going to happen.
But we know.
But we know. Do you say Mulciber? Mulciber?
Mulciber.
Mulciber. He specialized in the Imperious Curse, forced countless people to do horrific things. Rookwood, who was a spy, and passed he who must not be named useful information from inside the ministry.
From inside the ministry itself.
Dude! Have you seen the movie?
No.
So, if you go to the lexicon,
Lexicon.
because there wasn't anything on Pottermore, which I'm like,
Come on,
let's
Pottermore.
go. You want to do all this passport mumbo jumbo? Let's do some other stuff. Do you know what I'm saying though?
I agree.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're not wrong.
So, so it says either there are two Death Eaters with the name Mulciber or a single one who failed a whole lot of grades. So the first went to school with Voldemort and escorted him to Hogsmeade the night that he applied to teach at Hogwarts.
Oh.
That was in Half-Blood Prince, chapter 20. And the second is a friend of Snape and Avery when he was in school some 20 years later, Deathly Hallows, chapter 33. Okay. So one of them was an Imperious Curse specialist and had already been captured by the time Karkaroff came to trial. But obviously that name didn't work for Karkaroff. And there was also one who fought in the Battle of the Department of Mysteries, Order of the Phoenix, chapter 35, which is which. They don't know. And so there's that. Could be just a little bit of a whoopsie. You know what I'm saying? It says probably the earlier Mulciber was the father or older brother of the younger Mulciber in the same way that there is an earlier Crab and Goyle. So maybe that could be it. Anyways.
I always assumed that was their parents, like Crab, Goyle, Knot. Because they all have kids.
I
like
agree.
Yeah.
Crab, Goyle.
I
Crab, Goyle,
love-
and Knot are also going to
I
school with
love
them.
like the intertwining of all the pure blood names and everything through both of these stories that we have right now
Yeah.
with like
Yeah, it
Fantastic
gets-
Beasts and this. It's just like so.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I love.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gets you a little
And that's why
excited.
like if this. Well, this should be a weekly prophet that we'll discuss a little bit more, but like this TV show that is rumored, if that, I mean, like, so excited if
I
that
mean,
happens.
but if you look at like the little pieces that people are pulling their shows from Netflix and things like that are owned by Universal.
Totes makes sense. It's happening. I'm convinced.
I need it too, and I need it to be really good.
Marauders.
So let's
Wait,
look
is that
at.
you think it is?
I think
That's what
I
it's
think
rumored
it
to
will
be.
And if it is,
I haven't read anything about it.
Conversation for another day.
It's a whole new podcast.
Ice cream, guys. Ice cream.
Okay, all right. Well,
Ice cream, you
don't
scream,
they
we all
close at
scream
9?
for Death Eaters.
No,
No.
10, I think.
Ooh, you better make sure.
I'll Google
Anyways,
it.
let's go on to Travers.
PL Travers.
PL Travers.
Death Eater who murdered Marlene McKinnon and her family, according to Karkaroff, during Karkaroff's trial.
McKinnon?
McKinnon.
Okay.
Kate McKinnon.
So Travers later escaped and partook in the Battle of the Seven Potters, where he was cursed by Kingsley. This is chapter 5 in Deathly Hallows. Is it 10 o'clock?
10:30.
As Sarah would say.
You know what this is not doing? Getting us closer to getting ice cream.
Can we have the title of this be something about
Honey
this is
Hut?
why we're not getting ice cream?
Already done. I typed it in there.
Are you kidding? Oh, God.
Way to pay attention, Tiffany.
Well, I'm doing my part, babe. All right. Anyways, so the curse didn't kill him. He survived, went back to work for Voldemort in the Ministry of Magic. He was a colleague of Umbridge on the Muggleborn Registration Commission.
Are you talking about Travers?
I am indeed.
What a bee.
I wonder if it's like the same dude.
He is responsible for bullying Xenophilius Lovegood after the Death Eaters kidnapped Luna. Travers in, is that Sluin? Sluin? Anybody? Okay.
I'd say what you're saying is correct.
All right. They got nearly caught. They nearly caught Harry at the Lovegoods.
Guarantee you that Travers is related to the Travers.
Oh, Travers had a most unfortunately timed encounter with a woman who he thought was Bellatrix Lestrange, right? Going into Gringotts. It's actually Hermione. And Harry places him under the Imperious Curse and made him hide in a crack in the wall. And that's all we hear about him. Maybe he
Definitely
died.
related.
For sure.
If
Especially 'cause they're
not,
both
do you
working in the
think that they're
ministry.
the same person? Because think about like
He'd
in
be real old though.
Well, yeah, he would
wasn't
be.
real old.
Because
in
think no, he was old. Like he wasn't really. Like, he was a grown man, like probably in his 30s.
But he was like
Oh, but he's
Dumbledore,
a
you
wizard.
know.
He is a wizard.
But he's like Dumbledore. So
We're
like,
wizards. So it could be the same dude. Actually,
I know.
I just thinking like normal lifespan. But
Right.
Wizards can
Let's
live a long
hope.
time.
Moving on to Rookwood, Death Eater who was convicted of passing ministry secrets to the Dark Lord Augustus.
Augustus Gloop. Augustus Gloop.
Skills are spying for Lord Voldemort.
Oh.
Mm.
And falling into chocolate rivers.
There's really not much I know of his character on Pottermore. They're dancing.
It's the Augustus Gloop song.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that form of it.
Well, whatever.
I'm just saying, Gene Wilder. Anyways, works for the Department of Mysteries and had agents all throughout the ministry, not all of whom knew who they were really working for. Who does number 2 work for?
Scoops ahoy.
For example, Rookwood was an old friend of Ludo Bagman's father. And Bagman passed him information, apparently quite innocently.
I'm gonna get there.
Okay. Karkaroff names him, right? Rookwood sent to Azkaban, but escapes in the mass breakout of January 1996. Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 25. He fought in the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 35. Again. Nope. 10 chapters later. Sorry. 35. And he is described as being pock-marked and stooped.
Stoop kid's afraid to leave his stoop.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
And interestingly enough, Harry has a vision through Voldemort's eyes via Horcrux of Rookwood kneeling and explaining why Broderick Bode would have not been able to remove a prophecy ball from the Department of Mysteries because it did not apply to him. Due to the information given by Rookwood, another Death Eater named Avery was punished by the Dark Lord, which made Harry's scar burn.
Sucks to suck.
At the
Gonna
battle
say.
of, one more thing, sorry. At the Battle of Hogwarts, Rookwood was chased by Percy Weasley and stunned by Aberforth, Dumbledore.
I like the name Avery a lot.
Too bad it's an evil name in Harry Potter.
Let me round out my very long section. So, back to Karkaroff before I went into all these character profiles here.
Car off.
I know that's what I say every time I type it.
Samesies.
Rookwood was the name that struck gold. Crouch was so surprised, and Karkaroff was super pleased at this. So Crouch goes cold again. So after he's like surprised, he goes back into like Crouch mode.
He crouches back inside.
He crouches back. Yeah.
Like
And
a
he's-
toidle.
And he's like, all right, you're going to return to Azkaban while they decide what we want to do. And then Karkaroff yells out that he has, according to my doc, mo names.
I almost fixed that, and I was like, nope, I'm not gonna.
So we got some more names. Mo names. Mo names, mo problems.
I just had to say, I really like the movieism of how he finds out that his son was part of this. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, there's more and more. And he's like, Barty Crouch Junior. And you see like David Tennant's character like slowly creeping. And then he's like,
Rita's there.
yes.
Rita's there in the movie. And she's like,
Well, because she is there, I
She's
believe,
there
in the
in
vision
this.
when he
With
is going through his stuff. When
Bagman.
Bagman?
Bagman.
Bagman.
I like bag.
Are we ready for
Barty
green?
Crouch Junior.
So Karkaroff is adamant on not returning to Azkaban. He has one more name
Oh
to add.
no.
Snape. Severus Snape.
Dumbledore.
So I remember, I don't know if you guys remember reading this for the first time,
No.
but whenever that part happened, it blew my mind.
I know. I was like, what?
I was like, that's why he's evil. That's why he's lime. So I thought that it would be kind of cool to pull up Snape's timeline here, because this is when we learn that Snape was a Death Eater. Obviously, we've known for a really long time, but in the books,
Ta-da.
this is the first time. So,
He's one bad dude.
so it says in 1970 is when Voldemort rises to power. And then 1971 is whenever Lily, James, Remus, Sirius, Snape start school and are sorted. So it's only 1 year later. So they're 10 when he rises to power. Which means that as they're going through Hogwarts, he's getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
They're 11.
Well, no, because when he rises to power, it's 1970, so they're 10.
Oh, excuse me. I thought you said when they were sorted.
You don't have to whisper if you're trying to correct, baby.
But I was wrong.
We're all learning here. I don't know how to say names. What did I say? Oculussy.
So 1 year after he rises to power, that's whenever the OG gang starts Hogwarts. So this means that as they're going through school, he's getting more and more followers, which if you
think about Twitter, no.
if you think about like real life situations, that time frame, that's when you're like super moldable.
Mm-hmm.
So like when things are going on, and they always say, I read this article about politics and how politics, like how people become, like how people begin to believe what they believe when it comes to politics. And it has to do a lot with whenever you're around that age and what's going on in the real world. So like if you think to whenever we were younger, it was Bill Clinton and then George Bush. So you think about like the major things that happened in the world during those times, and because of the negativity that was put on Bush, a lot of people who are from our generation tend to lean liberal because of that. Because as a child, you saw 9/11 happen, and you saw the aftermath of 9/11, so you tend to be more liberal. But then there are the people who also, I mean, like, it's so split, and it depends on your age, because like you could see that situation and think the total opposite because like where your headspace is, it just depends, and like it also plays into like what your parents think and all that kind of stuff. But how that relates to this is like, if you think about it, Snape is surrounded, he's in Slytherin. So right now Slytherin house is completely surrounded by the rise of Voldemort because all of the families are all intertwined with it. They're all on his side. So all of the kids are also going to be like that at school. And you're just surrounded by it being in like a dorm. So Snape may have had his own opinions because his parents clearly... Like, his parents believed Voldemort and, like, you know, but they weren't, like, active in the community, right? Like the Malfoys or the Lestranges or
What do
something
you
like
call
that.
it? Like silent supporters or something?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, like a silent supporter.
Also brings up the nature versus nurture kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yes. Exactly.
You know, what you're raised with and all of that. I mean, obviously there are outliers and you have your own brain and you make your own decisions. I know, like, for myself, getting out into the world and out of a small town opened my eyes to many a thing that I had no experience with growing up.
Yeah.
Just where I was located.
Yeah.
But kind of like that too. It's like with what you're surrounded with, that's gonna, you know, after so long, it's gonna seep in and
Right.
And I was just talking to you the other day about something. It's like what you surround yourself with and who you surround yourself with is what you become.
Right. Exactly.
Like I
So,
stopped being friends with people in high school because I was getting meaner by being around them, and I'm like, I can't be your friend anymore.
Well, that's a wise
Yeah.
decision on your part
Yeah.
for cutting that tie. Jeesh.
Yeah.
So yeah, like nature versus nurture, like nurture super plays into politics, and like obviously this Voldemort thing is it's politics. This is Joe's
Yes.
way of portraying politics. So he's friends with Lily, but because he's in Slytherin house, even though he has a friend who's a Muggle-born, because he is literally just like hounded with the ideals of what Voldemort is all about, he almost like just forgets about Lily and like who she is. You know what I mean?
She's like the exception to the rule.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
People,
that's so
people
good.
make exceptions in their mind for people all the time.
I guarantee he like goes through and he like makes excuses for her. Well, she's
Yeah.
this, but she's also this. This is how I could make it okay.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Exactly. So that is basically like what was going on when he was growing up. Plus the fact that people who were not in Slytherin house were not very nice to him. So that's why he tended to lean, I think, towards the people in Slytherin. Like if you think James and Sirius, and they weren't nice people towards him. So that's, and then like James and Lily becoming head boy and head girl, and he's basically like lost her, right, to like this person who's just a complete jerk to him. So it just like makes him go even more into that, and that's when he really starts to dive into being a Voldemort supporter. And then he overhears the prophecy in 1980. So this is 9 years later. So he's graduated, he's 2 years out of Hogwarts, and he hears the prophecy and rushes to tell Voldemort about it. Then it clicks in his mind what the prophecy is and what it means. And all of a sudden it all comes crashing down. So that is all still in 1980.
Dude,
Whenever.
that's some wicked karma.
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe in karma, that's some wicked karma.
Yeah, like he's her downfall.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him telling, like how would Voldemort have ever heard the prophecy?
He never
No one
would've.
would have said anything. The only person that would have heard it was Dumble.
And then that would have been super
Private.
Yeah, I mean, like it would have been kept completely private, and that would have been exactly what that side needed to make sure he never got to power. But because of Snape, Voldemort is able to come to power. You know what I
That
mean?
is an awkward turtle.
But like
But I mean, it makes it all come crashing down. But he does still come back, right?
But like I wonder, like in my own thinking of like how life works and everything, like they were destined to die. Like I know that's horrible.
No, I know.
So like
Yeah.
they had a date roughly, like the death essentially was coming for them. So like they were going to, and they were probably going to die anyway. So like maybe Voldemort would have heard by someone else, or like that just sealed Snape's own fate along with Lily's in that whole story.
Yeah.
You know,
Tied it up in a bow.
But like if Snape had never told him, maybe he would have found out by some other way.
But honestly, this is how he comes back.
yeah.
Right. So
That's
like,
how
within,
he comes back to the good side. So that's part of his arc.
Yeah.
And how, you know, he got better. You know what I mean?
So I mean, like all within a year.
Oof.
All within 1 year, he hears the prophecy, tells Voldemort about it, realizes what that means, then goes to Dumbledore and meets him on a windy hilltop to tell him what he knows and to beg him to protect Lily.
Think about
How long do you think?
how long what?
From the time that he gave Voldemort the prophecy to
Not
when
long.
he realized.
I don't think
Well,
it's long.
and think about
it says here,
especially when Lily dies, he spent the rest of his life regretting what he did. You know what I mean?
He
Like
tried
that
to fix
specific,
it,
like
yeah.
telling Voldemort. He was
Yeah.
like, he like has so. I guarantee you, like, and if anyone disagrees, come at me. Like,
Okay, what?
but like
Well, like you said,
he loved
was
her in
her
his
downfall.
way.
Imagine living with that.
Yeah.
So every day, every moment of his life, he tries to correct it. Granted, he slips and slides along the way, especially with his treatment of people.
Yeah.
But
his end goal
nonetheless,
is always there.
But
he
like,
tried,
I wonder,
yeah.
like, if part of the reason he's such an angry person is because he's so angry. Like, you know, when you like,
Horrible life.
you're
Oh,
so mad
for
at yourself
sure.
and you like hate yourself so
Yes.
much, you're portraying that on other people.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's
and
just something
Lupin
to
went
think
through
about.
the same thing. He had a lot of self-hate as well.
Oh, for sure.
That's a good
And-
Just
and
carries
these-
it in a different way, though.
And these
you
things,
know?
correct. And these things like manifest, and you can't. It's almost as if the two of them couldn't shake it.
Yes.
Mhm.
They
it's-
dealt with it
it's
differently,
nice-
but they can't.
Yeah,
they,
it's
they
nice
never
to
shook
see
it.
how similar that is, where they both have such hatred for themselves and how different they act.
Mm-hmm.
Where you know Remus like is such a nice guy, really, and he wants to help them and teach them and learn with them. Where Snape is not always. But at the same time,
Snape
I will.
tends to like go back into himself and just kind of it's almost like he's I feel like maybe he's almost scared of his reaction sometimes because of like his self-hatred. So he just like puts this wall up and it's not something that he can't jump over that hurdle. He just can't do it. And like not everybody can, and that's fine. And I also feel like this is the conversation that our Snape loving listeners needed to hear from
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And I will
It's
say
been
when-
a while.
We're
Talking
giving
about
you
him-
a little olive branch here, friends.
talking about him being like a good or bad teacher, if you think about it, he wrote everything on the board where Slughorn was a
Correct.
book teacher and Hermione excelled in potions when she was taught by Snape, not book learning.
Yeah, true.
One was the better teacher because he knew more about potions. What? Slughorn? Bye.
Okay, but back to the timeline. So Snape overhears the prophecy whenever Dumbledore is interviewing Trelawney for teaching divination at Hogwarts, which has to take place over the summer, right? Between years, I would assume. So like school ended,
At the
and then
Hogshead.
he's interviewing her for the next school year.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that he's interviewing teachers at a bar?
True. But he meets Dumbledore in August of 1980. So it is like...
So what did you say? I'm sorry.
So
Did you-
Dumbledore interviewed Trelawney, and it has to be sometime in the summer, whether it's... And they get out pretty late.
They
'cause
get,
they
so
get
it's
out,
probably
like,
July or...
Yeah. July or
July.
August. It could be July or August. And then he's meeting Dumbledore in August. It is almost immediate that he is like, oh,
Wonder what
shoot,
he's,
the
wonder
shooter.
what he's doing when
But
he
he's not a-
realizes this.
Well, he's not a dumb guy. You know what I mean? Like, he probably said it to him. It's one of those things, like, like, go back to, like, Hagrid saying, like, oh, I shouldn't have said, like, immediately. He probably told him, and then, like, as he's repeating it out loud, he's realizing what he's saying and
I
what
would
it
love to
means.
know.
And then he's probably thinking, oh, my gosh, like, I need to go. Like, my girl's in trouble.
I want to know. Dear
I
Joe,
wanna know.
I want to know how that happened. I want to hear that inner dialogue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, Lily, by this time, Lily
She
had
was-
the baby because
So
he was born in
gonna,
80.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that during the interview, Harry was not born. When the prophecy was stated, Harry wasn't born yet.
Right.
So
I would
I'm
agree.
guessing that he heard this in
Do you think he
mid-July,
heard the news that she had him?
and then it hit.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet you for
that's it.
sure.
So then August, he meets Dumbledore.
Like, what
and
if-
then the next year,
The next
he's
year.
hired to
Yeah.
teach at Hogwarts.
But like, what if she like even
Ooh, that's
like what if she
fast.
wasn't even due? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
if she wasn't even due July? You know what I mean? Like, because you never know. Like,
It could have been like maybe
early
Harry
or
was
late.
born in August and he came early, and
Yeah.
then it's like, oh
well,
my
you mean
god,
he was due in August and came in July? But yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
But
So okay, so yeah, he meets Dumbledore in August.
I'm gonna headcanon that.
Then he. Okay, hold on. I wonder if this is correct because I don't think that he gets hired by Dumbledore until after Lily is dead, right? Snape is hired by Dumbledore to teach potions at Hogwarts.
81.
Wow.
He became a professor in 1981 is what I have in my
Yeah,
timeline.
See,
that's
and
what
this
it
is what we
says
were
here.
talking about earlier with Legilimens and me thinking that Dumbledore might be able to because he realizes that it's this guy, like, he can see that it's okay, that he's trustworthy. You feel me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says that Snape later says he took up the post on Voldemort's orders, so it's almost certain he began teaching at the start of the school year in 1981. Harry gets killed, not Harry.
Whoa!
Lily and James get killed in October of 1981, so he is a teacher when it happens
For 2 months.
for 2 months because he's there on Voldemort's orders, but actually kind of
he's
already a
the
double
double
agent.
That
He's already a
that
double
day
agent.
on the Windy Hill, he agreed
Yeah.
to the double agent life.
Yes,
correct?
I agree.
How old
Yeah.
was he? Like 21, 22?
Dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agent?
All these
Yep.
people, all these young
Like,
people.
it's hard to remember that, especially because they have
Yes.
people
That's like
portraying them that are
10
so old.
I can't even imagine. I
Yeah.
can't fathom.
I didn't have that headspace. Are you kidding me? No, I still don't. What are you talking about?
I'm still 17 in my head.
Yeah.
Honest to
it's
God.
crazy. It's crazy. I think that a lot of times people forget how young Lily and James were.
Yeah.
So young, but you have to think, like, when you're a wizard, you also are shoved into that adult life very young as well.
Yeah, you are.
You're
Especially for how long your life expectancy is as a wizard.
Right.
To become an adult at 17 is
Yeah.
like crazy young.
yeah.
I feel like they should become adults at like 30.
Right? Go to a lot of school.
Okay. Back to my section. That was really good. Thank you for joining in on that
I'm
convo.
feeling
but-
that. I'm feeling
Yeah,
that.
that was
Yeah.
good.
I'm feeling it. Harry Potter, I'm feeling it.
So after Cockcroft says Severus Snape, we also hear another bombshell after that. Dumbledore himself has given evidence on this, and Snape was definitely a Death Eater, but he turned spy and is no longer a Death Eater. And
But here's the thing, like, you just throw that out there, and then Snape's probably like to Voldemort, no, I'm your
just
spy.
kidding.
JK.
Well, but at this point, Voldemort is in
Dead.
Albania.
Yeah,
he's not
but when
dead,
he, you know,
But yeah, when he comes back,
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
I was just saying that.
just
you
kidding.
know?
You remember the Karkaroff trial?
I had to
that was a
continue
joke.
continue being a spy, so of course I had to say that because I'm gonna be at Hogwarts and Dumbledore has to be on my
lord.
side. Right.
Think about it. He probably was like went back and said to Voldemort, he's like, think about it. He's like, I knew you weren't dead, but I needed to play it so I could still be the spy for
Right.
you.
Exactly.
You know, spin it and be like,
Yeah.
this is what I can bring to the table
And the
for
fact that
you,
he can
Voldemort.
do the fact he can do occlumency like totally cements it because Voldemort can't read a thing in his mind.
So do you think, this is a little off topic, that Draco Malfoy, because we know that he's skilled-
Legilimens?
Yes. And he can obviously, if you can do one, you could do the other, correct?
I would think so.
Do you think that his aunt tortured him? Because a lot of people on the internet do.
His aunt,
Bellatrix.
Bellatrix.
Yeah, and that's how he like really became good at it.
You know what? I bet she would be the type just to do that, to get you to be really good at something, just beat the snot out of you until you're good at
Oh.
it. Yeah, headcanon.
Sorry, Draco.
That's
But honestly, sorry, Draco.
Draco is like a big fat jerk a lot of the times, but I actually really love his character, and
He's
I
a
feel
great
bad for him
character.
a
Do
lot
as
of the
well.
times.
Great character.
I feel really bad for him a lot.
yeah. Nature and nurture.
Yeah. Okay. So next up is Bagman. So this is a completely different time, a different memory.
Batman.
And I'm sorry, I was reading Tam's question in the chat and I got distracted. How do we know that Draco is a Legilimens? I'm pretty sure they deleted that from his fact file now. Oh, interesting.
I'm
Because
really
it was
doing
in
that?
I think they mention it in Cursed Child though, don't they? Do they?
I don't remember.
I don't know. But anyway.
Sarah,
so
get on the internet.
new memory, new date and time, and Harry can tell this because there's different people in there and it's like a different it's just a totally different atmosphere this time. So like nobody is like scared. They're all actually kind of like excited because it's Bagman, Ludo Bagman. So Rita's in the room this time. She has her quick quotes quill, and it's just very like relaxed in there because I think that nobody thinks that Bagman did anything wrong. Like,
I think they think he's too dumb.
I think that they're just starstruck
I
by
was
him,
gonna
to
say,
be
I think
completely honest.
you
I
The
don't-
Harry Potter
yes.
effect a little bit.
It's
Bagman
the Bagman
effect?
effect.
Mm-hmm.
So Ludo enters. Yes.
sorry, going back to Malfoy.
Yeah.
On Stack Exchange, which we've used a number of times, it says Rowling wrote that Draco Malfoy managed to keep his plan secret from the very skilled legilimens like Snape and Dumbledore about working on the Vanishing Cabinet for the entire school year. And
So
worked
he
on it
has
alone.
to like do occlumency.
But
So
they did take that out of his. I remember reading that
So
on
do I.
Pottermore,
So
and
do
it's
I.
no longer there in his fact file.
Interesting.
So it
Yeah.
says he's clearly smart enough to learn from several advanced skills such as repairing a vanishing cabinet and nonverbal magic.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what it says. It says,
Ooh, I like this too. I'm sorry. Can I just read this before I forget?
Sure.
His mother lied directly to Voldemort's face, who never suspected her betrayal for a second. She must have been very skilled at occlumency too.
True.
Also,
And I
did
bet you
she
she
being a
taught
sort
it
of
to him.
Maya.
I bet she taught it to him.
Well,
Do you
that's
think
what
her
this
sister
says.
tortured her too?
Yes. I think
Bellatrix
that
be torturing everybody out here.
Bellatrix is not a nice person, and we already know that.
So it says this is on Pottermore. It's a writing by J.K. Rowling.
Give it to me.
And it's Draco Malfoy.
Give
And
it
it says
to me.
Voldemort and Snape underestimated Draco. He proved an adept, is that how you say that? At occlumency, which was essential for the undercover work he had undertaken. Yeah. So he at least knew
At least occlumency.
Right.
which is good
I feel
to
like
have.
it kind of goes hand in hand usually, though. I
I
mean, I,
would
guess not
agree.
always, but like I think usually it would.
I would think like if you have like if you could do the illegitimacy.
What? Legilimency.
The illegitimate.
Illegitimate.
If you are illegitimate.
I think I said it wrong because I was struggling to spell it when I was Googling.
As soon as you got it out,
I think because I was legitimately struggling to spell it, so I was struggling how to say it. Legilimency.
I almost choked on my.
I think if you can do that, you're more likely to do the occlumency. But I don't think
yeah.
it's maybe more of a struggle if you know the occlumency. You don't necessarily know
Yeah.
the illegitimacy.
Got it. Got it.
That was amazing.
All right. So Ludo Bagman enters the room, and the Ludo that we see in this memory is at the height of his Quidditch playing fitness. So he doesn't have a broken nose. He was tall, lean, and muscular.
No butterbeer gut.
Nope. And when he sat down in the chair in the middle of the room, the chair did not bind him like it did Cockoroff.
Interesting. Do you think that they do that or the chair does it themselves?
no, I bet
And
that
they
they
do
did
it.
it. I bet they were like,
Here's the thing. I said, okay, so this is clearly favoritism in the judicial system,
Oh,
and this
yeah.
definitely happens in real-time life.
Facts.
For example, celebrities, like possibly example the college scandal, O.J. Simpson, etc. Like they got away with it pretty much because they can pay for a good lawyer.
Or just pay some fines, you know
Money
what I'm saying?
talks.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that Bagman is guilty. I don't know. I really do. I do think that Bagman is just dumb.
Yeah.
But
he's guilty of doing it, but not guilty of doing it on purpose.
correct.
I agree with that.
Which,
But
you know,
if you
that doesn't
think
mean
about
it's
it-
not like if you, like you could say like you were speeding, let's say for instance, but you didn't know the speed limit. You were still speeding, so it's still illegal even if you were
Correct.
ignorant towards the law. It's
And you're
still
probably
illegal.
not going to walk out scot-free.
Correct.
Here's my comparison. Imagine if Madame Maxime had done this.
Oh, for sure.
Or Hagrid.
Yeah.
You're done though.
That chair would bind you
Mm-hmm.
in an instant. But because he's Ludo Bagman, doesn't matter that he did it. He's Ludo. He's just dumb. It's okay. We're going to forgive him.
Yeah.
Okay, so read from chapter. Ludo Bagman, you have been brought here in front of the Council of Magical Law to answer charges relating to the activities of the Death Eaters, said Mr. Crouch. We have heard the evidence against you and are about to reach our verdict. Do you have anything to add to your testimony before we pronounce judgment? Harry couldn't believe his ears. Ludo Bagman, a Death Eater? Only, said Bagman, smiling awkwardly, well, I know I've been a bit of an idiot. So, like, I don't know if he's just, like, playing the card. I don't know. Like I said, I really do think that he was just dumb and he just didn't realize what he was doing. But basically, he just is saying that he's clueless about what he did. Do we believe him here? I think that I do. He does seem rather daft sometimes. Like, think of his gambling problem. Like, he gets into too much, more than he can handle. So I know that this wasn't exactly an example of getting into stuff that you can't handle, but like, it was kind of just him not thinking things all the way through and just like acting on impulse, you know?
Yeah.
So some Bagman background alliteration.
Some background.
Ludovic.
got you, Kate.
I like his name. Ludovic Ludo Bagman. He's a famous Quidditch player, probably slightly younger than Arthur Weasley. Though tall and powerfully built, Ludo, even in the 1990s, retains the look of an overgrown schoolboy with round blue eyes, blonde hair, and a rosy complexion. As a young man, he was lean and muscular, but after his retirement, he put on a lot of weight. So the name Ludo is Latin for play.
Interesting.
Which makes sense because he's a Quidditch player.
Ah.
And he also plays the system.
I was gonna say he plays you, gives you some leprechaun gold.
Players, they gonna play.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
And
Players
haters,
gonna play,
they gonna
play,
hate.
play.
Ballers, they gonna ball.
Shot callers, they gonna call.
Nothing to do.
So Bagman is an English slang word. Never heard of it. While in the U.S., this carries the sense of one who collects money. As for racketeers, in the UK, it carries the meaning of traveling salesman. So, like,
I get it.
it fits him.
All right, I would agree.
So Bagman was caught passing information to Lord Voldemort's supporters. Crouch suggests time in Azkaban.
Who?
Who?
Who of the
Is there an
supporters?
owl over there?
Hoo.
Mr. Hoots.
Don't give two hoots.
Rookwood.
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 Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
I
getting
literally,
there.
I read that earlier. All right.
So Crouch suggests time in Azkaban. And, like, you can tell here, Crouch is on a mission. And he doesn't care who it is. Clearly, we're going to see he doesn't care who it is coming up here shortly. He wants to put people in Azkaban and make a point that he is doing something about what Voldemort has done. Yes.
Opposite
Well,
of fudge.
Correct.
I'm thinking, well, here's my thinking. Because, like, he legitimately, regardless, like, if he didn't realize what he was doing something not wise, probably something illegal. So, realistically, you should have some penalence. Penalence is not a
Penalty?
word. Penalty. But if you think about this in the opposite sense with Fudge, he tries to punish Harry for the whole Dementor thing.
Yep.
And then, because, like, here, the people are like, no, you can't send Rookwood. No, it's not his name. Bagman, wherever, blah. And then other people are like, you can't punish Harry for literally defending himself with the Dementors. Like, why were
Right.
they in Little Winching? Blah, 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 blah.
that is like two sides of a sword, right?
Yes.
So, like, you've got Crouch, who's maybe a little bit overzealous at times, but, like, it really does make sense here. Like, Bagman should have served some time. It shouldn't. I mean, I don't think that it necessarily should have been
Community
a long
service.
time.
Yeah, like, he
and,
needed
like,
a penalty.
maybe not Azkaban,
Yeah.
but something.
Mm-hmm.
He literally walks out of this with nothing.
Yeah.
Where there's Harry, who, like, Fudge just doesn't want to believe him because he's a kid.
He's
So he's
literally,
like,
well, I don't even,
gonna
I think,
expel him.
but I don't
from
think it's because he's a
Hogwarts.
kid. I think it's because
Because
he
he's
doesn't
Harry.
want to believe that
Yeah.
Voldemort's back and all of that. And he's like, well,
Yeah.
why would that? Because that's just going to prove his point that if the Dementors aren't at Azkaban,
Right.
someone's telling them to do something, that means Voldemort's assigning his back and he's not going to take it.
And
Right.
Fudge doesn't
No,
have
he's
control.
not going to take it.
He
And
ain't gonna
Fudge
take it
has no
anymore.
control. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Fudge just wants control.
Mm-hmm.
And Crouch wants control too, but for good reasons. But again, like, he is a little bit overzealous.
They're both like the
They both
far
have
ends of the
faults.
spectrum, you know?
Yes, exactly. So there's immediately outcry from people in the crowd when Crouch suggests time in Azkaban. Like, legitimately, I don't know if you guys watched the Netflix documentary or the Netflix show on the O.J. Simpson trial. Reminds me so much of that. Crazy.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
The jury wouldn't convict him because he was O.J. Simpson. I mean, like, they showed scenes of them, like, I mean, obviously this is a TV show, but, like, they showed them in there talking about the trial, and, like, all of them were just like, it's O.J. Simpson. He didn't do it. And it's like, it's just like Bagman. I don't know. So, anyway,
Sports hero.
yeah. He passed information to Augustus Rookwood. He was an old friend of Bagman's father, and it had never crossed his mind that he was in with Voldy. Crouch puts it to a vote, and nobody raises their hand for imprisonment. However, one witch from the jury does stand up and says that she wants to congratulate Mr. Bagman on his splendid performance for England in the Quidditch match against Turkey last Saturday.
Not cool.
And Crouch is so super mad. Despicable.
You know, kind of shame on that jury for like not taking it seriously.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Because it's Bagman.
And this happens every day, like you said.
Yeah.
Just read it every day.
Despicable, Crouch spats at Dumbledore, sitting down as Bagman walks out of the dungeon. Rookwood get him a job indeed. Oh, so right before this, like, as he's explaining that he was talking to Rookwood and wouldn't suspect anything, he says, oh, you know, Augustus said that he would get me a job in the ministry one day, like after my Quidditch days are over.
Yeah.
So Crouch is like, Rookwood, get him a job indeed. The day Ludo Bagman joins us will be a sad day indeed for the ministry. And I just said, welp.
I wonder what. Yeah, that's probably why he doesn't like him anyway.
For sure.
Yeah.
But like, what did he have against him before that, or was it just that?
Bagman? Like
Like,
what
What did Crouch have against
Bagman?
him? Was it just passing the information, or was there something before that?
I wonder if he knew about his like gambling and stuff, and just knew that he's like one of those guys that's like
Kinda slimy.
going through life like just what is that thing, riding his laurels or something.
all willy nilly.
Skating through.
Yeah. You
I
know?
think that a
Resting
lot
on his
of
laurels.
it, like I want to say like 90% of his issues, I think stem from passing information, because Crouch is obsessed with catching and imprisoning people
Yes.
that helped the Death Eaters and Voldemort. So, because like, you know, we hear Winky say, oh, Bagman is a bad man. And
Yeah.
I think it's just this trial. That's why she thinks that, because Crouch probably was just so, you know, like, oh, he's so bad that's, you know, he was so focused on this. I feel like it's this.
He probably like every time he had to work with him probably came home and was like, Bagman did this and blah 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 blah.
Oh, for sure, complained
I am the
all
count.
the time.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah. So, all right, another memory. So that one is over and it goes to another day. And this day is completely opposite of that one. There is silence all around the room, and there were dry sobs coming from a frail, wispy-looking witch beside Mr. Crouch.
That's his
who
wife.
Is Mrs. Crouch. So 6 Dementors enter, flanking 4 people. They were
That means
chained. They were chained each to one of the 4 chairs. So from the chapter, I'm not doing a good job at being ready for these chapter readings. I'm sorry. Okay. There was a thick-set man who stared blankly up at Crouch.
At the couch. They're just chilling.
On a couch.
A thinner and more nervous-looking man whose eyes were darting around the crowd. A woman with thick, shining dark hair and heavily hooded eyes who was sitting in the chain chair as though it were a throne. And a
She's
boy
crazy.
and a boy in his late teens who looked nothing short of petrified. He was shivering, his straw-colored hair all over his face. His freckled skin milk white. The wispy little witch beside Crouch began to rock backward and forward in her seat, whimpering into her handkerchief.
It's interesting that she really only describes
Sounds like Winky.
Barty Jr. You know, she kind of describes the other ones, but
It's
really
like
describes
glossing over them, but really, yeah, focuses on.
I find it interesting that he's blonde.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't blind in the movies.
Yeah.
David Tennant, why you bleach your hair?
So
Fishy in my hair.
Crouch is all business and begins the trial immediately and says, "You have been brought here before the Council of Magical Law," similar to the last one. He starts it the same way. He said clearly, "so that we may pass judgment on you for a crime so heinous." "Father," said the boy with the straw-colored hair. "Father, please." "That we have rarely heard the like of it within this court," said Crouch, speaking more loudly, drowning out his son's voice. "We have heard the evidence against you. The 4 of you stand accused of capturing an Auror, Frank Longbottom, and subjecting him to the Cruciatus Curse, believing him to have knowledge of the present whereabouts of your exiled master, he who must not be named." "Father, I didn't," shrieked the boy in his chains below. "I didn't, I swear it, Father. Don't send me back to the Dementors." You are further accused, bellowed Mr. Crouch, of using the Cruciatus curse on Frank Longbottom's wife when he would not give you information. You planned to restore he who must not be named to power and to resume the lives of violence you presumably led while he was strong. I now ask the jury. Mother, screamed the boy below, and the wispy little witch beside Crouch began to sob, rocking backward and forward. Mother, stop him. Mother, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I now ask the jury, shouted Mr. Crouch, to raise their hands if they believe, as I do, that these crimes deserve a life sentence in Azkaban. So every single person on the jury raised their hands, and the crowd clapped this time, but their faces were full of savage triumph. Like, we are putting these people away. Which is just crazy. Like, I mean, I get it for like the other three, but like to have that look of savage triumph on your face after this boy is like screaming for his mom and dad.
That's rough.
And I really think that it's just good acting.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like, it would like, what's the word I'm looking for? It would really like hit you in that moment. Like, oh shoot, is this the right decision?
Right, does
I
that
feel like
not
it would
invoke
force
an
you to,
emotion?
yeah, it would force you to
Mhm.
question yourself. Yes.
How old is he?
I think he's like fresh, like
17 or 18.
It said late teens.
Here's my thing. Horrific crimes.
Mm-hmm.
How much of a role did he have? Because we see he has a very large role later on.
They don't go into detail.
It's hard to think of putting yourself in Crouch Sr.'s shoes. However, if your child, if Alana, were to do something heinous like that, I would want her to not be able to do anything like that ever again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side of this, Muggle jail isn't like Azkaban.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it
Yeah.
still can get pretty horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
people die every day and all of that. And I don't know. It's just, but then again, he's almost a kid, but not. It's very hard to
But there's
think
even
through. You
there's
know what I
a-
mean?
Yeah.
Well, like you said though, it's a heinous crime.
It is.
There's people that are under the age of 18 that do heinous things.
and they need to not be able to do them
those
again or be given the opportunity again.
Yes.
I just wish that there was a different place, maybe not with
Yeah.
Dementors. Because if you think about it, if you
If you
think
think
about
of, like,
people in general,
Like a juvenile system. You know what I mean?
does anybody deserve that kind of, no matter what you've done? You
Bellatrix
just have
does.
to you just have to think like that. It's really hard for me being a person that has such large empathy for people, and I still think like, you're still a person. Can you help this? You know, is there something else going on? It's just, it's hard, and I struggle with it sometimes, even relating it to real time life things. I struggle.
Well, I
It's-
think
it's hard.
Azkaban sucks.
But I think too with all of this that
Yeah.
there's a lot of faults in our own like prison system and all of those things. So it's almost like, but in a perfect world there would be perfect solutions, but unfortunately we're all human. So like the people that are, you know, the judges and the people on the jury, they all come with their own baggage and their own like perceptions of the world when they come. So like they're all, everyone's biased, no matter who what you say, everyone has a bias. So like you're coming towards that, so that's something against you already. And then the prison system isn't, obviously, like in Cleveland there's a lot of people that have been dying in our prison.
Correct.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's hard. You go one way, but then you're like, oh, but you know, I have to think
Yeah.
about these things, and it's just, and I don't know. But my own take on Barty Crouch Jr. is that what you said, acting. We see that he's a brilliant actor, not even just David Tennant. He, I feel, is doing whatever he can to get out of this situation, playing upon his mother. Clearly, he gets out of it anyway because he gets whatever he wants. He's an actor.
Here's my
And a
thing,
manipulator.
though. How do you guys feel about the fact that, like, so if this happened in real time life,
Okay.
like I have an uncle that's a judge, and say for whatever reason, someone he's related to, his own child came in front of him, and he had like he would recuse himself. So why didn't Crouch? Because can you really, truly
I feel like
judge your child?
they
fairly?
didn't have a good relationship. I feel like they hated each other.
Oh,
They-
for
oh,
sure.
And
Yeah,
I feel like
definitely.
Senior was like, yeah, I'm going to put him away. One, because what he did was horrific. Even if you had a part in it, whatever, you're there. You're condoning it. You're not stopping it, whatever. As a Gryffindor, I feel like if anything happens, you give your life, right? That's just me. But I think he was happy to put him away.
But what I'm saying is, like, is it ethical for him?
No,
And yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
no, it is not. Somebody else should have stepped in, whether
I
that's your
agree.
job or not.
I agree.
There could be more than one of you.
So a couple things.
Sure thing.
First, I really like what Bev said in the chat. Rehabilitation is key. Punishment doesn't fix anything, but it appeals to our base nature and makes
Yeah.
us feel better.
That's true.
Second, I think that the wizarding world in general does a horrible job with mental illness.
Oh, yeah.
So, while, like a lot of these people should have been helped that way, but that's like not really a thing in the wizarding world, I don't think.
I mean, is
I
it
mean-
always a thing in the real world? We're
No.
getting better at it, but
We're better at it, but like it's taken a long time for us to get to even where we are, and we should be a lot better. So, but I think especially in the wizarding world, they just do a horrible job at they do a horrible job at helping people with mental illness.
I feel like sometimes they're still stuck in like the realm of an eye for an eye,
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
you know?
would make the whole world go blind.
Go
Kate.
ahead, Kate.
So when Sirius was talking earlier in the book about Crouch, he said something about how like he was a super powerful wizard. He was kind of like in line to be the next minister. So imagine this news breaking that his son is whatever. I think he kind of was like, no, I'm doing this trial to try and save my career almost by showing like, even though it's my son, I still put them away. Like
Yeah.
I'm that serious
Yeah.
about catching dark wizards, but it actually worked against him, I think.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I think
Maybe.
that him doing this trial hurt
Yeah.
everything that he built.
Yeah.
I don't think
It
that
did.
I don't think that him doing this proved anything to people. In all honesty, I
Well-
think that people seeing him do this really just made him look like a really cold individual. And he should have just exempted himself from this trial and said, somebody else take over and do what needs to be done, but it shouldn't be me.
Right.
But especially like with him
Yeah.
and becoming like the next in line for the minister of magic, when the news breaks that his son died, quote unquote, because it really wasn't his son, died in Azkaban, everyone started pouring out, being like, "Oh my God, had been such a great kid, and he was like this, and he was that," and then blaming him
Yep.
for it. So that even ruined
Yeah.
his chances even
Yeah.
more. Being like, "Well, why weren't you a better father, and why weren't you there, and why did you do this?"
Well, because
you are
he
the reason."
sentenced him to death, essentially.
Oh, and
Right.
that too, but even growing up, like
Right.
you're the
Yeah.
reason that he did these things, and
Yeah.
had you been around more, and had you done this, and had you
it
not
was-
put him in Azkaban, he probably would have survived. And
But
that's
here's my thing. Most of the people that are probably saying that are the ones that were clapping.
correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Oh, for sure. Because people, things like that in that world, like the world of politics, the world of, it changes in a snap.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I was going to, and then I was like,
Wish it would.
There are so many things I want to say that I'm not gonna say.
yeah, because we're not going
'cause I
to
don't
do
want to
that.
get
We're not going to do that.
crazy.
It's going to be
political.
really hard to not do that.
But we're
in a
not going
5.
to do that.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to, but we're gonna have to do it in a.
Good
Because I
way.
mean, we're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about politics. It's gonna get political. Let's get political. Political.
I'm switching.
Not gonna go crazy or anything, but we have to at least discuss base stuff. This
Yeah.
is politics. Two
Ooh.
people on different sides of one coin. Who will win? The flip will choose.
Tiffany wins always. It lands in the middle.
Yeah, 5. Yeah. Josie's totally going to get political in the next book.
Yeah, but we're
5 is
not.
gonna
We're
be
not
really
going to be
hard.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think we're gonna be like you're right and whatever. We're just gonna talk about the politics in the book, kind of.
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
yes.
cross that
Yeah.
bridge when we get
5
to it.
is 5 is probably my least favorite, just because it drives me crazy.
Oh, I like 5 so much.
I don't like 5. Well, I like 5, but it's my least favorite of the 7.
Let Katie talk so I can talk after
Yeah,
her.
let's get going. Well, Meg's not even done yet.
Oh, she's not?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh, we've been talking forever, and I
this
just
is
want
why,
some ice cream.
No,
It's not gonna happen.
this is why we're not
It's
getting
gonna
ice cream.
happen
We're getting ice cream.
Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
today.
Okay. All right, so the Dementors come back in, and the woman who we know to be Bellatrix says, the Dark Lord... Is this where I am at? Yes.
Yeah. You're good.
The Dark Lord will rise again, Crouch. Throw us into Azkaban. We will wait. He will rise again and will come for us, and he will reward us beyond any of his other supporters.
Yeah.
We alone were faithful. We alone tried to find him.
She ain't lying.
She ain't lying.
Yeah. She got his baby.
Crouch Jr. screams, "I'm your son," over and over to Crouch. And Crouch says, "You are no son of mine. I
Ayy.
have no son."
Hey, I told you.
And I said, that's cold, but honestly probably needed.
Hey.
I mean, like, I get it. Like, I get he's hard on him. But at the same time, like, one, Crouch Sr. must have known that there was something off about him. Like, yes, I think he's cold, Crouch Sr., and yes, I think that he would have put him away probably regardless, just to save his face. You know what I mean? But I still think that, like, Crouch Sr. had to have known something. Like, there's something fishy with him, and this proves it.
Well, maybe he didn't notice at all.
Or maybe he didn't notice
You know
at
what
all.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, he
You're
wasn't
you're so
around enough.
focused on your job and where you're going
Yeah.
up, you're not noticing what's happening in your own home.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Truth bombs.
So at this point, Crouch's wife actually faints. And I said, I can't imagine, like, as a mother watching that happen. Like, I get very difficult.
I feel like they didn't have a very good relationship.
I agree.
Okay.
Oh, you mean the married peeps?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
So at that point, Crouch Jr. gets taken away screaming. Yep.
Do you think that when they left the room, Bellatrix was like, "You punk," screaming and crying?
Probably.
I could see her saying.
Barty Crouch Jr. is instantly like, well, I'd rather try.
But but honestly, like, I feel like he is really just a really good actor, and
Yeah.
that was his way of saying,
I think he was also
"Get me
scared.
out of this
Yeah.
so that
But it
I
was an
can
act.
go find him. I will get out of it. I have the leverage of being his son.
Yeah.
Let me get out of this situation so I can go and find the Dark
You
Lord."
just pulled that out of your butt, didn't you?
What?
It's a good thing, but you literally just
Oh,
thought
yeah,
of
no,
it.
I
No,
just
here's-
came. Yeah, I just
Here's
thought of
what
it.
I'm thinking of too is that he thought for sure since his dad was doing this that he was going to get out,
Yeah.
and that was him panicking, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to get out of
Agreed.
it.
I
Oh,
agree.
man.
It wasn't acting.
100%.
It wasn't acting. That was true.
Well, and I think part
The
of it,
end was true.
Yeah.
like, I think
Yeah.
also, like, he truly didn't want to go back to Azkaban anyways.
Well,
'cause
yeah.
It's a horrible, horrible place.
Right.
But yes, I'm here for this. I'm here
Yeah.
for it. Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
the end of that, man,
Yes.
that was all panic. True and
Yeah,
true.
I agree. Because I think he really thought he was going to get out of it, especially with his mother sitting next to. Yeah.
Do you think the faint was real?
Yes.
Okay. Just saying.
But you know what? Maybe not though, because I feel like she
was trying to get him out of
clearly
it.
wanted to do whatever she could to get him out of going back to Azkaban.
Yeah, but how could you, knowing what your son did? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like she truly believes that he didn't do it.
Guys, coming from a teacher, everybody's going to be like, my little angel wouldn't do that. BS. Bob Short's your angel wouldn't do that. Just check your kids, man, and check yourself.
Yeah.
Just saying. That concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and don't let the muggles get you down.
Amazing! Just my voice!